Good evening, gentlemen. Today again, I am with the golf show, Golf Bangladesh, and I have got the same guest of yesterday who discussed on security, and that was a separate, different platform, the Security Bangladesh. But today, basically, he is here as he is a golfer himself with a single digit handicap, and he writes golf for long, long time for Hindustan Times and Times of India. And also, he is a veteran war correspondent. You know it from start the discussion. So straight away today we'll go to the golf. And before that, let me see the today's discussion point. Am I correct or not? And I think you can hear me, Mr. Vikram Jit Singh. I think you can hear me properly.
Yes, very clearly, and good evening, and wonderful to be with your audience in Bangladesh. And I think you're doing a great effort to bring golf to so many homes and engage the mind with this wonderful game.
Okay, pleasure to have you in our show once again. And you are the real, appropriate person to talk golf because you had been a long time covering golf and yourself you're playing golf. You know the insight of golf. So to start, I want to know about you. You had been a senior journalist of Hindustan Times and also Times of India, and also you write not only golf, you write also. I found that wild nature, say wildlife, especially within located or found within the golf courses. That's a exceptional thing. Today I was going through your articles, so many records, so many history, so many data on your writings in your articles that made me really honor and pleasure to see you again in our golf show. So can you tell us something about your start of your journey with the golf?
Uh, you know, uh, in India, golf was really limited to restricted elite way back in 1971. Which was also incidentally the year that was the liberation of Bangladesh. My father was very fond of golf, and at the age of 4 in 1971, I accompanied him to the Chandigarh Golf Club. And my very strong memory from 1971, when I was age 4, was that my father hit the ball into the roughs or the jungle, and I went looking for the ball. And I had a set of plastic golf clubs that my father had gifted me. And I thought I'll go into the jungle and find the ball and try and hit it out. Now, when I went into the jungle to find the ball, I couldn't find the ball immediately, but I saw a long yellow snake on a dry tree right in front of me. And the snake looked at me and I looked at him, a 4-year-old kid, and both of us were very scared of each other. So my father came, and he was a naturalist and he was very fond of birds and wildlife. And he told me, he said, "Son, don't worry. It's not going to do anything to you. It's also scared of you." So that was 1971. So I grew up, and the next thing I did was to pull my father's golf cart. And incidentally, players like Jeev Milkha Singh and Amandeep Johal, whom you've also interviewed, and Harmeet Kalon, and these all, we were all contemporaries and neighbors in Chandigarh. So we used to play golf together when we were 9 years, 10 years old. And can you imagine, in our holidays, we used to play 54 holes of golf. Amandeep Johal, me, G. Milkha Singh, Harmeet Kalon, Monty Sahi, 54 holes of golf. And then we used to go home at night we had big bungalows. Our fathers had big bungalows. And we would chip and putt in the lawns at night over the hedges. We would hit into Jeev's house, and then from Jeev's house, we would hit into the next house. And, so that was the passion for the game, it was a madness. It was what is called a janoon for golf. And then, I became a journalist, and Jeev and all became great professional golfers. And then, as a journalist, when the PGTI, the Professional Golf Tour of India, started in 2008 or 7, I started covering golf also for the Times of India. And what I decided was that I'm not going to sit in the clubhouse or take a golf cart and try and see a few holes of the players playing. I said, just the way I used to cover the army, the counter-terror operations, and the Kargil war, where I used to go with the frontline soldiers where the firing was, I would walk 72 holes with the players, the complete round of golf with the players, the lead players, the lead 4-3 ball. And that allowed me to see each shot, each nuance of the game. And some of the players, there were some very hilarious moments which you would only know if you walked along with the players. For example, Gaganjit Bholar, who has played in Bangladesh and won a professional tournament, and I think 2009 or 10. He was playing in Chandigarh Golf Club, and he suddenly, he had to answer nature's call, and he didn't know what to do because he had to tee off, and he had a natural urge. Or G. Milkha Singh playing on his home course at Chandigarh Golf Club and hitting some terrible shots. Terrible shots. I told Jeev, I said, I don't think even an amateur will play such bad shots. So, these are the things that gave me the spirit of golf writing, to go beyond the normal birdies and bogeys and, the normal scorecard, or because that is a
Yeah.
dry.
Yeah, we'll come there. The interesting point about writing golf or telling golf, how you did it all. We'll listen to that your story. But my second point was, uh, we find always it's a Apple and game. Media try to expose, or I mean, people perception. Media is not responsible for that. Our general people perception is golf is a game of affluent people, rich people. So media did not have that in all over the world, especially third countries like India, Bangladesh. We don't find media in that platform to expose golf to the, especially for the sponsors, investors. It requires exposure and return. So there where we really lack. So what is your view or opinion to should be the media's role, or to the organizers of golf should do to attract medias more and more?
Well, I think your question goes to the heart of the issue of growing the game of golf. Because unless the media, the electronic, the print media, the social media, exposes the game to a wider audience, the sponsor, who is basically a tournament comes up only because there is a sponsor. So the sponsor must feel he's getting a good exposure of his brand, of his company, of his profile in the larger public. Now, because golf has got a somewhat of a bit of an elitist tag in India or in Bangladesh or in, the developing world, the media is a bit shy of covering the game. But that tendency is, I see it is waning or eroding. The media is more forthcoming and they are more excited about covering, golf tournaments. So I think the one way forward is for the tournament organizers to have a kind of a golf clinic for journalists before the tournament, so that they understand the game's nuances, because it's a very complex game. After all, how does a journalist who's covering the hospital, or he's covering cricket, or he's covering hockey, suddenly come to the golf course and know what a par is, or an eagle is, or an albatross is, or what is 5 over par, or because journalists are used to higher numbers are good, more goals are good, more runs in cricket are good. Suddenly in golf you say the lesser is better. So journalists need to, their interest needs to be kindled. They need to be taken on board, so that they develop an interest. And I think a good way would be, for example, to get journalists to accompany the tournament organizers on a golf cart and see the players and explain the shots, because after all, golf has also a very prestigious label to it. Everybody wants to be a member of a golf club. A lot of us want to be, playing golf. So I think that could be used to our advantage to grow the game of golf. I'll give you a good example. Last year at the Jeev Milkha Invitational Tournament, before the tournament, we had a long driving competition at night. So at night, on a winter evening, we had the top pros standing on a podium, and under floodlights, they were hitting the golf ball 320 yards, 310 yards. And a lot of the members and the media and all were, looking at the ball soaring into the night sky like a white, kind of a shooting star. And so that was very attractive. It catches the imagination. So I think a lot of innovative ideas need to be hatched or created for the media to get more involved with the game. And the problem I face, which I think all journalists face, is that our editorial bosses sometimes feel that giving too much coverage to the sponsor is like promoting a corporate interest. But I think if you look at America, we look at Europe, and look at the way the PGA Tour promotes the sponsor. He's got a big profile on the television coverage, and he's interviewed, and so that really makes the sponsor's investment worth it. After all, it is a kind of a business prospect. So I think we need to, mature and give better coverage to the sponsor, and without really feeling that we are doing something, illegitimate or which is promoting a business interest. So these things will come with time, but I think we need to work on the media as a force multiplier, because I realized this in Kashmir and Kargil, that as long as the army did not take the media on board, they were getting a bad press. The media narrative went against the army, went against the government, went against the nation. But when the media was taken into confidence, the narrative changed. And that was a force multiplier. So whenever you're trying to grow a game, you're trying to break into new territory, I think the media is really a great thing. And I think one of the people who does it very well is Jeev Milkha Singh. Because he is very friendly with the media. He's very good with the media. He's very patient. He's very good with the fans. Whoever wants to come and meet him, he meets them. He's very warm with them. I think that really grows the game.
Okay, I'll come back. Stand by, please. As you had been saying, media, of course, has to be bordered in by the organizers, by the professionals, by the players themselves also, especially the organizers. And media also has its own role. It's a cycle, as I understand from your discussion and other discussion with other professional golfers, leading organizers of Asia, Europe, that it has to be a combination and combined effort of all. It's not only that organizers or players, it's also a media themselves has to come forward, and it has to be in exchange. Like, as you said, the awareness is the key. For media or a journalist, it is awareness is must, learning is must. What is called golf, how to write golf, what is golf, how to write score, as you said. And more importantly, as you said, it shouldn't be just as we said in Bengali, say Bengali, maybe Hindi also, God. It should be something similar, writing like Mr. Siddiqur own, he lost, this is the score, similar press release, part of it looks like a press release. Mr. Siddiqur played this tournament, on this tournament, this is sponsored by this. All these 3 to 5 lines is the format. So as you said, and I also have been watching your some of the, today just I checked, you had a wonderful piece of news value and news article named that is called, you had a column in Times of India, Tea Time Buzz. I saw it for a long time, you had been writing Tea Time Buzz. And that article, that column made me really want me to know from you, what is that? What media personality? Yeah, beside the awareness, that is the part of the organizer. They should invite them, they should carry them, they should allow them to learn the golf, and then expect the exposure. But what's about your this part that you went out of the writing scores only? What is that about tea time bars?
You see, a golf course is a vast theater of human drama. It is also an interaction with nature because you're on the greens, there are jungles, there are bushes, there's so many birds, there's so many snakes. There's such lovely things on a golf course. And also golf exposes a man. You see, so in my column, Tea Time Bars, which I wrote for 10 years for the Times of India, and I also wrote it for a few years for Golf Style magazine, I tried to go beyond the game as far as scoring was concerned. I brought out different aspects of the game. For example, sometimes there's a great Indian professional called Ashok Kumar. Ashok Kumar has won many tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
And Ashok Kumar comes from a very humble background. So when Ashok Kumar won 45 lakh rupees in one season in 2006 and 2007, the first thing Ashok did was that he went and bought himself a Mercedes because it was his dream. He was a lad from Samastipur in Bihar. So it was a dream for him to buy a Mercedes. He bought it. And Ashok, he was playing at the Delhi Golf Club on the 9th hole and he hit the ball into the jungle. And Delhi Golf Club has very thick jungle, very thick. So his caddy put the bag down and they were looking for the ball. And they found the ball and they went to the next hole, the 10th hole at the Delhi Golf Club. And when they put the bag down, they suddenly heard a lot of hisses from the golf bag. There was a snake which had gone into the bag. And now the snake wanted to come out. So, these kind of incidents on the golf club. Then, at the Chandigarh Golf Club, there was a huge fight. Players took out their clubs and bashed each other up very badly. And in that, G's father, Milkha Singh, the Flying Sikh, he was also involved in some way. So, I brought out the details, which club they had used to hit each other, which club had broken, which club did not break under the strain, and how one of the person who got very badly hit, he got onto a golf cart. I can't hear you now. The audio is gone.
Yeah, sorry. Now I think you can hear me.
Yeah.
So I was telling that there you used your knowledge of crime journalism that you to find out the incident. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, please. Yeah.
So, one of these persons, he got injured very badly. And he was a retired army officer from the Sikh regiment.
Okay.
And his entire golf t-shirt was full of blood. So he got onto a golf cart, and on a golf cart, he drove all the way from the golf club to the hospital, which was about 7 kilometers away. So people saw him. They said, we saw this person on a golf cart, his entire t-shirt drenched with blood.
Okay.
So I put it in my column, these details won't come out in a normal article.
Mm-hmm.
So, these kind of details, the color, the birds, there's a migratory bird which comes all the way from Africa, to India, and lays its eggs in the nests of other birds. It's called the pied cuckoo. Now, where I used to play golf in Chandi Mandir, which is the Army Golf Club, a lot of them come, the pied cuckoos. So I wrote about that. The pied cuckoos coming from Africa to the Army's golf club.
Okay.
So I think, you need to make the game more than a sterile story or a dry story about score, because there is so much action. There is so much human drama. Because, the most elite people play golf and they're very wealthy and they have a lot of power. And sometimes they throw their weight around on a golf course. They try and bully other people. So I used to write against that also. I said, that's wrong. You can't do it. On a golf course, you must observe the etiquettes.
Yeah.
So I think, uh, you know, it was a very successful column, and people used to buy the Times of India to read that column.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So just to come to that point, you had been also working for golf for long, as I understand, it's more than 13, 14 years, 15 years, something like that. And then at a time, you had been working for Times of India, Hindustan Times, Golf Digest magazine, and and also Time magazine, if I'm not wrong.
Golf Digest and Golf Style.
Okay.
And I've also worked for the Indian Express newspaper for many years, for 9 years for the Indian Express newspaper. And,
Okay.
the Tehelka magazine I worked for. So I have worked 3 years in Kashmir
Many.
also.
Okay. Yeah.
3 years
For
I
work.
was in Kashmir.
He covered as a world journalist. Yeah, you reported just from the front line. Yesterday we discussed that. Yeah, you're also expert on defense and strategic issues. I understand, but here I'm interested to know your single-digit handicap. How could you earn that? Very rare. I did not find anyone because I have some friends of ESP and I talked to them, and also I interviewed some journalists from India who works for golf like Robin Bose, and also Bangladeshi 767 journalists. They're also working for 10 years, maybe around then. But then I did not find anyone who is writing and playing with a single digit.
Well, because I was a contemporary of Jeev Milkha Singh and Amandeep Johal. We were neighbors in Chandigarh. So all of us
Okay.
children used to play golf. We all started playing golf together. And, Jeev, incidentally, Jeev was the worst golfer amongst us. His scores
Okay.
were the worst.
So there my question goes. Then for a journalist, is it must that he has to play? Number one. Number two, does he, require to know also, is it the sports journalist better suited or somebody else like nature or other a sports journalist also should have then wide angle like you, may not know the game. What is your opinion, standpoint?
You see, if a journalist who covers golf, as a specialization, if he also plays the game, it will help him greatly to understand the nuances, and it also motivates him to put in that extra effort for the game. Because when I cover my tournaments, I walk the full day with the players. I'm completely sunburnt at the end of the day, completely sunburnt, and
It will work.
I never go on a golf cart. I'm always walking with the players because I want to see each shot. I want to know on a particular hole, how did he shape his drive? Did he play a left to right ball flight? Did he try and move the ball right to left? Did he make a good club selection on a very vital hole, like he's coming down to the 18th green and he's got to hit over the water hazard? What kind of a club is he going to use? Is he going to play to the left of the water hazard, or is he going to fly the water hazard at the flag? So I need to know that. I need to see it with my own eyes. And a very interesting example. Last year, before 2018, at the G Milkha Invitational Tournament, which was basically the tour championship for the PTTI, they went into a playoff. Karandeep Kochar from Chandigarh, and there was this lad from Bangalore. I forget his name now, Chikarangappa.
Chikarangappa, yeah.
So now the rules referee, N. Sampath was the rules referee.
Okay.
He has to toss a coin. He has to toss a coin to decide who will tee off first in the playoff.
Okay.
And he tossed the coin, and because the grass on the tee was slightly long, so the coin fell and stood up. It didn't fall in any side.
It was not flat.
So there was neither head nor tails.
It was not flat, rather.
So then he had to toss it again.
Okay.
So,
So why is the story there?
Yeah, quite a story. It just stood up straight. It refused to take sides, as they say.
Okay.
That will happen when you go and walk with the players. You walk with them and you see each shot and you see the way they make their club selections, how they shape the ball, how they vary their game according to different conditions, that comes only when you walk with the players. There is no substitute for hard work in any profession. And in golf, if you know the game, you like the game, you play the game, you can really do well. So
So
coming back,
I go your point. I go in completely with your point that a journalist must know the game. He must take endeavor to learn the game, rules of game of golf, and then be on the course, especially on the tournaments, to see, as you said, the beauty, the ingenuity, the shots, the player attitude, the nature, everything. I understand, as you covered, nicely covered. But here I go. I want to know from you. But in an average in Indian subcontinent Asia, especially in our country, and I find Indian subcontinent and some other country in and around, we are on online based or some portal on golf, some website on golf, and we are copying the news from PGA, from European Tour, from Asian Tour, and pasting it. So, what do you think about those part of journalism?
well, I think that again stems from the paucity of knowledge about golf in the media. Because people, the journalists have not taken the time to understand the game and get involved with the game. So what is it, because of the internet accessibility, and there's so much on golf on the internet, that the simplest thing to do is to take a link and paste it in, from the PGA Tour or the European Tour. So
Yeah.
original golf content, when you're creating original golf content, that requires what I've been trying to say throughout our discussion interaction, is that you need to be on the course. You need to talk to the players. For example, a great story in Bangladesh and India is, and even Sri Lanka, is the way some of our caddy boys have risen from the grassroots
Yeah.
and done so well.
Yeah.
And I've tried my very best to highlight those stories, because for two reasons. One, it's a story of hope, of people rising from nothing and being the toast of the world.
Okay.
There is Angel Cabrera.
Mhm.
Angel Cabrera, who's won, I think,
Argentine.
3 or 4 major championships
From Argentina. Yeah.
from
Oh,
Argentina.
no,
He was a caddy boy.
yeah, you're not from Argentina. He's
Cordoba.
from Spain. Yeah.
No, he's from Argentina, from Cordoba in Argentina.
Okay, Argentina.
He
Yeah.
was a caddy boy. He didn't even have shoes.
Yeah.
And he's won 3 major championships. He won the US Open in 2007, and then he won 2 Masters. Now look at it. Look at the incredible human journey.
Mm-hmm.
So in India, we have these boys, Mukesh, we have, Ashok, we have Siddiqur, who was also, at the Kurmitala Golf Club.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember Siddiqur Rahman, he won the Haryana Open in Panchkula in 2009. And I walked with him on the final round where he was in the leader group.
Okay.
And I noticed that Siddiqur had 2 qualities. One, he had a very compact and a measured golf swing.
Okay.
And secondly, he was a very cool golfer. He was not easily unnerved or rattled. So what happened was that Siddiqur won the tournament on the last hole because he held his nerve. He was 1 shot behind the leader, Rahul Ganapathy. And on the final hole, Rahul Ganapathy hooked his ball into the outer bounds under pressure. And Siddiqur went ahead and hit a cool par. And he won the tournament by 1 stroke.
Great, yeah.
And after the tournament, I interviewed Siddiqur. And I went into his life history and everything. And he told me many things about his life.
Yeah.
He said, sir, I was never nervous during the final round because I know other golfers will also make a lot of mistakes. So I just need to be patient and play my game.
Okay.
And he won the tournament.
Okay, I'll come back. Just I wondered, so many comments from today I have on you, on your expression, because these are very good points for journalists. Media manager from PTTI, Nikhil Singh, writes, "Good evening," and he has told that, yeah, you are something legend. Good evening, Vikram sir. He has expressed a good evening to you. And then Sanjay Marak wants to know how many years in golf. So I think you have answered that. You are more than 15 years. Why media is not interested in golf? You also answered that question. How a journalist learns himself the golf. I'll come back to that point. How himself he learns golf. If not organizers, federation, association do not come forward, then how, being a journalist like me, how can I learn golf? That I'll come back to you after a few minutes, a few seconds. Like Mr. Joy Sharma writes, "Hello, Mr. Singh. Nice to see you." Jagabandhu wants to know which state you are from. Chandigarh, I know. And Jagabandhu again, these are all regular audience of this program. I know them personally, so therefore kept on study also. They keep on following me. Jagabandhu how many years in journalism? You answered. Which TPN newspaper of India? You answered that. Nikhil Singh Kalan, Mr. Nikhil from PGTI. True. Nice points, Mr. JP said. Nikhil again writes, Times of India. JP, kindly share your unforgettable experience of Kargil War. We'll talk. Golf we are discussing, JP. You want to know the story of Kargil War in golf? Okay, let if we get time. Okay.
I will mention an incident of golf for the Kargil war later.
Okay, okay,
No, it's a
okay.
very interesting incident. Yeah.
Okay. Jeev, a great ambassador for Indian golf. Mujahid Rahman, he is another host like me. He's a commentator of sports. He himself hosts a sports program, I know. Thanks to both of you for knowledgeable discussion. Mr. JP, Mr. By this time I should tell Mr. Mujahid Rahman, as I said, he is a commentator of sports. Himself is a golfer of Sapar Golf Club. I am going to discuss with him tomorrow, maybe at around 3:30. Mr. Mujahid Rahman, I want to see him there, and I think our audience will be there to uh, witness us, both of us. Okay, Mr. Joy Sharma again. That's great. Never knew this. What is that? He never knew. Maybe some points of snakes and others. Okay. Nikhil Singh, aha. I mean, as you discussed the story of snakes and coin, and also maybe that those all are new stories to them. Okay. So that point I want to highlight. One is JP's point of Kargil war experience. Another point is, as someone wants to know, if I'm a journalist, I don't have any chance. Like in our country, maximum journalists they don't have access even to get inside some of the courses. Yeah, there are courses like Army Golf Club outside the cantonment they can enter if they want, and other golf courses also. But basing keeping their commitment, their business, as all the editors want them rank it somewhere else, as you said. All the editors wants cricket. Well, cricket is going to give him more advertisement than golf. Cricket is going to help their cause of business than that of a new game in Bangladesh like golf. So journalists they often tend not to spend time for golf. Rather, they want to spend some time for website online and then put it in writing, talking to some reference point and all. But as you said, he has to go physically on the course. He has to learn rules, techniques, see the player more than one group, total 18 hole. Only then he understand the swing, music of swing of a stick, music of a shot going left to right, all these things. Again, music of bird in the course. So all these things that requires time, passion, and determination, endeavor, everything, effort. But if all this someone cannot, then himself, how did he can start learning golf?
Well, I think the tournament organizers or the federations which run golf or the organizations which are in charge of golf,
Or
they can
clubs,
have a
yeah.
special program for encouraging journalists, who are
Okay.
dedicated to golf coverage, because there's no other way anybody is going to do it. You see, it's
Yeah.
it's a mutually beneficial relationship. If you
Yeah.
encourage journalists to know about the game, to give them golf clinics, they can come and play around, they can hit balls at the range. Their interest grows.
Yeah.
So I think the golf federations, the golf organizers, the golf institutions, they should have a proactive approach to encouraging the media to get more involved with the game, because ultimately, The stronger media is going to help the game. It's going to help the organization. It's going to help the federation. So nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to do it for you. So,
True.
you have to step out and reach out to journalists and, get them to, be more involved with your tournaments, write more player profiles, do more interviews of players, go into different aspects of the game, you know,
Yeah.
have a tournament for journalists, for media, like putting competitions, chipping competitions, small
Okay.
tournaments for them, give them prizes. So I think that's the way you grow the game and you grow the media interest.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, very good points you have covered. Very good points. Yeah, we you require organizer as organizers must. I mean, be with the journalists. They invite journalists to award them, to make them aware, to learn them, to know the game itself. Allow them with the walking in the course, see the players. Yeah, you are correct. Okay, so is it the time? Can you share us some experience as you were telling about Kargil War on
Yeah.
golf?
Well, during the Kargil war, it was a very brutal war because, the bodies of our soldiers were coming down and so many of them were wounded. And, the army was also under some amount of pressure because, we had been caught kind of napping. And in Srinagar, a golf tournament was organized during the war.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the then corps commander, Lieutenant General
Okay.
Krishan Pal, his son is a single digit handicapper.
Okay.
So Lieutenant General Krishan Pal went to inaugurate the tournament while during the Kargil war was going on.
Mhm.
And somehow or the other, one of the army officers leaked it out to the media that
Mhm.
the Kargil war is going on and the corps commander is, inaugurating a tournament in which his son is playing, who himself was an army doctor. His son was an army doctor.
Okay.
So that got the corps commander a lot of bad press,
Okay.
and he could never get over it. Later on, he told me I knew the corps commander very well, Lieutenant General Krishan Pal. He was a very fine army officer, but in Kargil, I think he failed to anticipate the incursions. But anyway, he told me, he said, Vikram, the media really got after me, and I just went to inaugurate a tournament, and I never ignored my duties or the operational matters, but
Okay.
the media didn't spare him.
Okay. Okay. So here it reminds me about this army's role. In fact, in India also, I found maximum. I mean, at least if not 60%, if not 70, but 60% plus courses belongs to army. And again in Bangladesh also, I mean, 90% courses out of 25, maybe 4 or 5 outside 20 belong to army. So here there is a rule of army for development of golf. What do you find in India? I mean, in media, it was. I mean, in India, it's also that this is the game of generals. This is the game of passing time. This is the game of their relaxation. I think that is not the. I mean, case for at least for now. Maybe before 10 years, it was more, maybe more than that. So, what do you say about this? How to?
Well, I
I mean,
think
yeah.
in India, the number of army courses as compared to civilian courses is more evenly balanced.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of civilian courses. That said, a lot of our young army children, get exposure to the game of golf because they go with their father to different cantonments where there are golf courses where they can play to their heart's content. And if you notice, two of our very fine contemporary players, Anirban
Oliver.
Lahiri and Shubhankar Sharma,
Yeah.
are both, children of army officers. And they made full use of, unrestricted access to army golf clubs. They could just go and hit balls throughout the day. Nobody would say anything to them. And then, army golf courses have another interesting and a very educative quality because you play on different kind of surfaces. You know, you might be playing in Rajasthan when your dad is posted in Rajasthan on those browns. Then you come down to Chandi Mandir and you're playing on a very undulating course in
Yeah.
the ravines, and you're hitting from tees which are elevated tees. and a lot of wind is blowing, so you need to shape the ball, you need to keep the ball under control. Then you go to maybe Calcutta, your father is posted in Eastern Command, and you have a lot of courses there. So we have the proof of the pudding lies in the eating. We have an Urban Lahiri, Shubhankar. We have
Many
Jyoti
of them.
Randhava. Jyoti
Jyotiranda, many
Randhava's
are.
father,
Also,
Jyoti Randhava's,
Beer a lot, many young guys.
yeah,
Arjun Singh.
Jyoti Randhava. We've had Angachima, also, from an army background. We have amongst the ladies, we have Sanya Sharma, who's been an old professional, and she's played a lot of tournaments for as a professional. Her father was in the army. I think he was an infantry officer. So I think the army has also given children a very um, good exposure and a chance to develop their skills.
Okay.
So I think
Okay.
the army plays an important role in growing the game of golf in India, and Bangladesh, of course, it plays a much
Yeah.
bigger role.
Yeah. So yeah, it is. It is almost, as I said, 90% courses maintained and supervised, organized, managed by army, and army has the maximum contribution to the golf. Up to the army has produced a federation. I mean, especially I must thank our present chief of army staff in this chance, taking this chance, because he is looking after our golf very keenly. And Siddipur is the production of Kurmitula Golf Club, which is run by army. So as you said, yeah, army in fact is the factor in Bangladesh to take this game outside Bangladesh. Okay, thank you for that point. Now let me add something new. How many players you know from Bangladesh, and how do you find Bangladesh professional golf? I mean, the only professional golf itself. How do you find professional golf going up to India or Asian Tour or after European Tour or US Tour? How do you find Bangladesh professional golf?
Well, I have watched, Bangladesh players play in India, like Muhammad Zamal Mallah. At
Wallah.
one point of time, he was playing in Chandigarh on a tournament, and he was in the lead group. So I watched him for the entire day. Siddiqur, I have watched very often. I've watched Siddiqur play at the Asian Tour level in Delhi and at the Avanta Masters too. So I've seen Bangladesh players, and at one point of time, Bangladesh players were very dominant on the PGTI.
Okay.
We also had the PGTI started off with one tournament in Bangladesh in I think 2009, and it grew to two tournaments of the PGTI in Bangladesh, in Chittagong and Dhaka. And then we had the Banga Bandhu Open
Bangabandhu. Yeah.
on the
Asian.
Asian Tour, a $350,000 tournament. And unfortunately, had not COVID come in, it was scheduled to grow to a $400,000 tournament
Yeah.
this year, I think. So
Yeah.
I think the game of golf is growing in Bangladesh, and importantly, I think if we look at it from at the strategic level, these synergies between India and Bangladesh on golf are something that can be taken forward to grow the game in both the nations, because we have very deep ties.
Yeah.
And golf can be another soft power, extension of soft power between India and Bangladesh, and deepen our ties, our people to people contacts, our cultural relations through golf.
Yeah.
And I think the other point is that Bangladesh golfers can come to India and play on different golf courses as golf tourism. They can play in places like Gulmarg, if things get better, which is one of the highest golf courses in the world. They can play on the so many golf courses in the National Capital Region in Delhi.
Yeah.
And we have a very old golf club at the Royal Calcutta Golf Club, which
Yeah.
is probably the second oldest golf
Yeah.
club outside the British Isles. So, and I think Bangladesh economically is focused on getting foreign investment. Now, for foreign investment to come into Bangladesh, you need to cater to their executives wanting to play golf and having recreational facilities. They need to go to clubs where they can chill out, play a round of golf, have a beer, interact with the local people, the local gentry. So I think again, there golf can be a strategic asset. If you grow the game of golf in Bangladesh and give these facilities, open more private clubs, courses, it can be a lure for foreign investment because, and that is an economic, look at China.
Yeah.
Look at the amount of golf clubs China has
Thailand.
to attract foreign investors.
Yeah,
There are
Thailand
so
also.
many golf clubs. So I think, developing the game of golf helps India-Bangladesh ties. It's an area of synergy,
Yeah,
as you can see in the
yeah,
co-sanctioned tournaments and Bangladesh
true.
players playing in India for many
Yeah,
years now. And
yeah,
I was looking at the statistics. Siddiqur Rahman
yeah,
has made 1.11 crore in
yeah,
prize money from
yeah.
just playing on the PGTI.
Yeah, it is. Four to
1.11 crore
five
from
to
just the
four to
PGTI.
five. Five PGT he owned. Yeah,
Yeah. So, I think, these are things that our younger players need to look at and
mm,
be encouraged to, broaden their vision and go onto the larger tours, graduate from the PGTI, go onto the larger tours. After all, Siddiqur is a kind of he is like a Bangladesh flag.
yeah,
You know,
true.
he is a representative of Bangladesh in the global comity of nations.
Yeah,
you know, Bangladesh's success story, its economic growth, its very wise investment in education and the health of the people is now an international success story.
yeah,
And if you have Siddiqur, winning on the Asian tour, he's a great brand ambassador for the game.
yeah,
So I
true.
think
Okay.
golf should be taken
Yeah,
also as part of a nation's, economic strategic outlook because you need
okay.
foreign investment.
Yeah, correct. Tourism, yeah, you were correctly said. Tourism in golf industry. That was my next point. I'll come to that point. Like Korea, Thailand, Japan, and the Singapore, and also as you say, China is the examples where golf tourism can be a point of focus for investment, economic investment. I'll come to that point. Here's some very interesting point by JP and Nikhil, which I mean, what do you think about the growth of Indian professional golf, and which young Indian golfers do you see growing in international level in future?
Well, I think the PGTI has done a gigantic task to grow the game of golf in India, and the way the PGTI has encouraged foreign players from the neighboring countries and all over the world to come and play on the PGTI is one of its biggest successes.
True,
And now the PGTI is part of the official world golf ranking,
yeah, true,
which gives foreign players a very good reason to come and play in India. So I think the PGTI has done a remarkable job, and despite a lot of difficulties and hurdles, economic problems which keep on coming in any country, they
yeah,
have stayed the course. They have not wavered. So I think they are on the right path. But I think the COVID thing is going to complicate matters a bit. How do we pick up after COVID because
yeah,
of the economic slowdown which is occurring? So that needs to be thought about, and strategies need to be worked out. That once the COVID era is over and the restrictions lift, then how do we resume our effort to grow the game of golf? As far as Indian players are concerned, we have had some good successes from Shubhankar Sharma on the international stage. We have had Ajitesh Sandhu playing well. We have
yeah,
had Rashid Khan doing very well. He got into the world's top 200 players and he stayed there for quite a long time. And, uh, you know, uh, so that is something very positive.
yeah.
Uh, but
Udan Mane also has entered within the 200, I think.
no,
Udan.
Udayan, I am not sure of Udayan.
Okay,
I think Nikhil would know better.
okay, okay.
But I think our youngsters also need to understand
Yeah,
and they need to really emulate what Jeev Milkha Singh has done.
yeah,
Jeev has won on the world's biggest tours.
okay,
He's won the pure championships.
yeah,
He's won twice the Japan Tour Championship. He's won the European Tour Championship. He's won 4 times in a year, twice.
Okay.
He's won the really big tournaments, the Singapore Barclays, which are $5 million tournaments, the Scottish Open, again a very big tournament where you have the biggest players playing. So I think Indian players need to go to that level. Winning on the Asian Tour should be a step. Winning on coach-sanctioned European Tour is one step. You need to go and play and win in mainland Europe, where the pure tournaments are.
Okay.
Where you have the pure European tournament.
Yeah.
You need to win. You need to win on the USPGA Tour.
Yeah.
But for that, you need to be totally dedicated. And I think
Yeah.
I need to point out a problem which the media does, and I'm part of that media, is
Yeah.
that we build up too much hype on a player who wins one tournament, for example.
Okay.
And the next time he goes and plays a tournament, there's a lot of articles saying he's gonna win this tournament and he's gonna do great, and that puts a lot of pressure on the player.
Mental pressure. Yeah.
You need to be under the radar.
Mhm.
You need to be. The burden of expectations is one of the biggest burdens. So the media needs to be more mature. Don't put the player under pressure.
Yeah.
Let him just go and play. Don't say, no, you must go and win again. No.
Yes.
So I think we need our players need to go to the highest level of the game and prove their worth. And that means you need to go and win something like the European Tour Championship. You need to go and win on the USPGA Tour. Then
Yeah.
that is
I just want to add a point. You excellently said, like for our Siddiqur case. Siddiqur, once he came out with success for 2 tournaments in very short time, and after that, so much pressure was built upon him by what I understood from his own interview, that there was some mental pressure. And also, as a rules official, I saw him very closely in the field. He has been carrying more mental pressure than that of 2012, before the winning 2 trophies in India and Brunei. So yeah, that the media pressure worked on him, and he has lost his concentration, and he was under pressure, definitely. And then what can be done? I discussed with a lot of other journalists and also the psychologist and mental coach in India also, from India also. One point I like, it is sometimes media may, in Bangladesh only we find a materials, studies, news value with news value Siddiqur Rahman. So media for timing can make the unsung heroes also, can bring unsung hero like Kulal, who has played 8 under in a round and then forgotten. Like Suhel, he has won a Asian Development Tour and then was forgotten. People did not understand what the difference between Asian Tour and Asian Development Tour. Very less, because same level of Asian Tour, Asian level players plays in Asian Development Tour. So winning a Asian Development Tour matters. It's just, gap of very less. So we did not pay any attention. We did not make him any kind of media star. Sakaut Hussain Suel. We didn't understand that news value or the star value of that game. So here my point is, once somebody is only pressurized by environment and media and club members and his colleagues, you are best, you are the best, you have to win. That's the point. Yeah, you said very correctly. I liked it. The media should also at times may leave him to play his game at his own, and may cover that backend by some other player who is likely to come, or a forgotten hero. Thereby all are balanced. Yeah, it's a good, excellent point I have taken from you and from others also. So my next point, Mr. Vikram Jit, as you have a long experience in golf, yourself is a single digit handicap player. So I want to know, lastly, maybe the last conversation with you is this: how big this golf industry is growing in India, and also in Bangladesh. As I said, it's no golf industry in Bangladesh, but I found golf media, golf journalism, golf reporter, and golf administrator, golf rules official, and the industry itself, golf industry itself, are growing in India. So what is your opinion on all this?
Well, I think golf is certainly, growing in India. There is a far better media exposure on golf. And, we have a lot of the equipment suppliers who have set up shop in India. And you get the latest equipment in India from very diverse equipment suppliers. All the major brands are available. And you have a very strong junior program coming up. Uh, for example, I tell you in Chandigarh, people from Punjab, they are sending their children from far off small towns to, learn golf in Chandigarh. And
Great.
if they're doing it, they're also buying their children very expensive equipment.
Okay.
You know, for example, we have this young lad Adil Bedi, and I think when Adil Bedi started his golf, his father used to drive him down to Chandigarh every day from I think 2 hours or something. One way they used to come down to learn golf. So I think this thing is growing in India, and but I think ultimately you have to have easier access to golf courses. Anybody should be able to pay a reasonable amount of money, hire a golf set, and play a round of golf.
Yeah.
Or at least be able to go to a golf range and hit maybe 50 golf balls because he's seen golf on TV and he wants to try his hand. So he should be able to go to a public range, pay a normal amount of money, and be able to hit 50 golf balls. So his interest develops.
Yeah.
So I think if clubs also, open are more open to more people playing with nominal green fees, I think that is the greatest way the game can grow. Look at South Korea. South Korea has an enormous number of public driving ranges. Enormous number of public driving ranges. America, Tiger Woods would not have been Tiger Woods. He did not. His father was not a member at Augusta National or at Pebble Beach or at Baltusrol. His father took him to a municipal course, and Tiger learned the game, and Tiger changed the game forever. As G
Yeah.
often says, Tiger is greater than the game itself.
Yeah.
But only because there were public facilities where a member of the public who was not a very influential person or a VIP could play the game of golf.
Okay,
So
I got your point here. Yeah, is the facility and infrastructure you're talking about, but that brings me a point for investment and sponsor. Last point, as you know, I had been doing this 64 show, and by I just give a simple example here. What I got golf penetration in Bangladesh that I understood by this 64 episode of golf show. I was often contacted from South Africa, from USA, from Japan, from Thailand, from Korea, from China, and of course from India. And I have scheduled so many shows, episode for next 15 days. But then in Bangladesh, I could not attract any of investor, any of the businessmen except few very known, one or two, like Mr. Asif Ibrahim, who had been working with me, or one or two investor or sponsor. They closely work with me. And other than that, by seeing my show, no investor, no golf industry people came from Bangladesh. Rather, they came from India, they came from China, all the way from Singapore. We want to talk to your show for our products or for our cause. We know golf. We want to talk golf. So that speaks the golf penetration. I mean, my audience is much more than Bangladesh in outside Bangladesh, like in Myanmar, Thailand, China, and all. So, what can be done if sponsors there don't come? How do you attract sponsors? Your long experience, what did say? How do you attract sponsors and investors in golf?
you see, I think we come back to the point where you need to convince the government that investing in golf is a strategic investment because it attracts foreign investors. It gives your economy, it gives your society a high profile. That here, see, Bangladesh has got some fine golf clubs, and you can go and play a very fine round of golf at a reasonable price. So it can become a part of the government's strategic outreach for foreign investment. So I think the government has the resources, and the government can invest in the beginning. maybe in a collaboration or whatever, and then private investors slowly come in. Because remember, investing in a golf course is a very expensive proposition, maintaining and bringing up a golf course, because look at the amount of land you need and for its maintenance. So it'll come off its own, it'll evolve. These things evolve in a particular way. So I think in a country like Bangladesh, you can really approach the government for investments in the game of golf. Have more public driving ranges. That can easily be done. Instead of setting up a lot of golf courses in the beginning, have more public driving ranges where anybody can just come and hit a couple of balls, and you can do it after office, because you can do it in a flood-lit driving range. So I think you need to think about it and get the government on board, so that there is good government support for the game of golf.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, of course, the government has to be boarded in, but also private sector also has to come in, because as you know, the mainstream golf in USA, Europe, the main, as you have been saying, in PGA, they have so much of sponsorship, 10 million to 15 million dollars for a tournament. So all are done by private entrepreneurs. And also, yeah, for our countries, like our countries, in third world countries, government definitely has to play a big role to start the journey. But then again, private sector for professional golf, private sector like PGA, you see the you are telling me here also media's role comes in USPGA. One brand golf is, I mean, one brand spend so much money for golf only for exposure in media, that not only media doesn't talk about golf only, they also talk about their profile, corporate profile, their brand. So many brands are established through golf, like Nike, Mercedes, like HSBC Bank. So many corporate and brands are talking in the media only for golf. They talk in short details, thereby money also is pouring in. So yeah, you are correct. Government has to start the process, and private sector also should come in and join the hands to go with professional golf, especially. So thank you
I
very
think
much for your.
I think you can just tell your government that look at China.
Yeah.
Look at the way they've attracted foreign investment. The Chinese economy is completely driven by foreign investment and the trade. So
Yeah.
once your Bangladesh economy starts going up, look at India also. Golf in India has picked up only because of the economic reforms in 1991 in India, where the economy started getting better.
Yeah.
So the tournaments increased, the prize funds increased, more golf clubs came up because of corporates investing in golf. So you need to get the government to start the process, and then tell them that once it will help the economy grow. Once the economy grows, then private investors themselves come in.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, very good point covered. I am obliged to listen your words. All are required for golf. And one of the most effective episodes so far I had. All angles are covered here. Media, and then other investment sponsors, players. So thank you very much, Mr. Vikram Jit Singh. If you have anything to say for the show or for anything for that matter.
No, it's been a pleasure to be with you, and I must commend your remarkable effort that you have done 64 episodes on golf with commentators from all over, diverse regions, diverse countries, and these are shows which catch the imagination. You see, ultimately, it is a bid for the human imagination. If you catch the imagination, you plant an idea in a young player or a youngster who wants to know about golf, that's the way you grow the game. You must catch the imagination, which you are doing with your, constant and relentless efforts. So all the very best to you and to Bangladesh golf, and to, a greater ties between India and Bangladesh. We are all very proud of the way Bangladesh has made itself into a success story on the international stage. So all the very best to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vikram Jit Singh. Looking forward. I want to see you again in some other episode, definitely. And hopefully you will also visit our Bangladesh sometime, so that you can understand and see yourself the golf in Bangladesh. Thank you very much, Mr. Vikram. Good night.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Good night.
Thanks. Good night.